This week on Hak5, we are demodulating subcarriers and talking about the radio data system. All that and more, and him, this time on the show. This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Domaincom. Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Hak5. My name is Shannon Morse.
I'm Darren Kitchen.
And we're talking radios,
yes,
right?
Yes, we are.
Ooh, and little mini ducks.
It's a
How
tiny
cute.
ducky for you.
I love these ducks. They're so strange and their eyes are all derpy. It's true.
Why are we eating it? Everything. We're talking about radios this week, and it's really fun and exciting because we like radios.
Woo!
I had
That's
a lot
right,
of
we do.
segments not work out right before the shoot, so I'm a little bit.
No, but actually, what you figured out is so fun.
I don't want to. I need to save it for next week because we've got some parts on the way that are going to. No, we need a high gain Yagi, and then it's going to get awesome. Yes.
Oh my God, I can't
More about
wait.
that later. Today we're actually demodulating modulated modulations with radio. It's math.
Yay, math.
No, last week we've actually been getting a lot of great feedback on.
Yeah, we have. I should actually do a short review next week about this video that somebody sent in. We have a fan who does a podcast all about ham radio, and he sent me like a specific segment that was directed at me, and it was all about basically kind of a beginning tutorial to get you into SDR and radio. Nice. And I was like, oh my God, it's so cool. I totally fangirled out, and now I'm subscribed to their YouTube channel.
Yay!
It was exciting. But yes, thank you to everybody who's sending back all of those emails. Like, I'm enjoying all of it, so thank you so much. And I'm glad so many people are enjoying it, and we have a new forum that's talking all about SDR.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. In addition to the Realtek dongles in the Hack Shop, we also have an SDR forum on forums.hak5.org. Just go to hak5.org, click on the little thingy at the top, and yeah, join us as we figure out some cool stuff. In fact, Midnight Snake was just in there talking about, this awesome app that allows you to, with the Realtek dongle, find planes, and it creates a local web server, and it's kind of like ADSB Sharp, except Linuxy. It's pretty cool.
Oh,
command
that's
line
awesome.
Tool, and we've got some other fun projects in the works with this. But today, I wanted to follow up with what we were talking about last week. As we build these building blocks, no pun intended with GRC here, we're going to go ahead and thus far, we've really been talking about analog stuff. I mean, except for the ADSB where we do mode S and we kind of have a program just go ahead and demodulate that for us and turn it into something that we can actually use on our computers and put into a database and plot on a map. But so far we've just been dealing with FM because FM is cool, but FM is not. It's not digital.
It's basically just a bunch of sing-song channels.
Well, it's frequency modulated. It's all like woohoo, yeah. But there's actually more to it than that.
Really?
You see, in the 90s, some cool stuff came about as far as putting some digital information in the frequency, in the FM stream.
Yes. I've started to notice this in my car.
You've got the thing in your car that does the thing?
Yeah.
So you've just...
Whenever I listen to a FM channel, I look at the little monitor that's in my car. I have a Ford Focus, and it will show me the title and the name of the song that's coming up. And it's kind of cool. So it's nice. I can just look over instead of having to Shazam it every time I want to find a song, and it'll just tell me exactly what I'm listening to.
So not only have you outed yourself for listening to the radio terrestrially.
Listen, sometimes my phone
heard
dies.
Of podcasts?
Sometimes my phone dies, and I have to listen to the radio.
You've also outed yourself for having Ford. But moreover, RDS is the name of this system here. It stands
my car reads
for
me text messages.
Radio Data System.
RDS.
And it was started by the Europeans, because you guys are cool. The European Broadcasting Union came up with this specification. It later became an international specification. And essentially what it does is it mixes in about a 1200 kilobit, or not even kilobit, I'm sorry, a 1200 bit per second stream of data. It's even got a little bit error correction in there in a 57 kilohertz subcarrier. And so what that essentially means is a modulated data like we're used to. In this case, we've been talking about FM as in frequency modulation. Inside of that, so it's kind of like encoding
inside your modulation.
Yo, dog! I heard you like modulation, so we modulated your. So think of it like when you do a VPN tunnel, right?
Yeah.
So now you're sending all of your TCP traffic inside of another stream. You're sending, this, I don't know, say HTTP stream, and then it goes inside of a PPTP stream or an IPsec stream or whatever your VPN protocol may be.
Yeah, okay.
We do the same thing when we SSH tunnel and use it to, you know.
Send packets.
Yeah, exactly. We send like other things over another thing, and you know that you could.
So we're basically going to be doing the same thing with FM.
Yes, we're going to do the same thing with FM, and we're going to do it with GNU Radio Companion, part of the GNU Radio suite.
Which was the program that we showed off last week,
and
with all the blocks.
And last week we were doing it with Pen2, awesome Linux distribution. I should also mention, give some love to Kali Linux, or Kali Linux, or however you want to pronounce it, Kali Lewis. It's an awesome distro that has all of the pen testing tools built in, including GRC, or GNU Radio Companion. And I'm not using that this week.
Oh, really?
They don't have the most up-to-date version of GNU Radio Companion, and we need 2.7 for this.
So what are you using?
I'm actually, this is so cool. GNU Radio Companion has their own distro. If we take a look here under gnuradio.org, you can actually grab the GNU Radio live DVD, and in this case, I've just used UNetbootin to burn it to a USB drive.
As we do.
Essentially, it's based on Ubuntu 12.04, so you already get a TLS version. It is 64-bit, so keep that in mind, and it has the latest GNU Radio release 3.7.2. And in this case, this is also really cool. I need to break out my Hak5. It's got a Hak5 snapshot. It's got EDIS research stuff. If for when we break out the EDIS as well as the RTL-SDR that we need. So. Awesome tools, all done for us, and I'm running right here. As you see, I'm in Ubuntu. It's just like every other Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Just have to have those built in, and I do mention I can't stress enough how painful it is to. You can compile this from source yourself. It will take forever, and it is mind-numbingly.
I like to make things easier for me.
I'm just going to throw it out there that you probably want to use this because it's easy. That said. I wanted to go ahead and show you how to get started with an app called GRRDS. This is found over at GitHub at Bastable, and it's essentially a fork of some of other projects that do decoding of the digital or the radio digital system.
Okay.
So these RDS demodulators are going to be able to provide us not just like what we did last week of listening to the FM radio, but also seeing what song is playing, what the name of the station is, and stuff like that. And it's a good example of how complex it can get to start saying, okay, cool. So we can listen to, we can pull stuff out of the stream, and we can say, hey, this is something easily modulated like FM or AM or whatever have you. Now we can actually take a look at what kind of blocks it takes to decode digital data.
Oh, that's
great. And I think looking at this will make you really have a lot of respect for something that we take for granted all the time, Wi-Fi. And typically we work on such an abstraction so far removed from what it actually takes as far as like all of the filters and all of the crazy stuff it takes to actually make this work. So. We're not going to pick this apart because this is not a signal show, as much as I would like it to be, and as much as I could spend my life reading Wikipedia articles and books on that stuff.
This is probably what's going to happen after the episode.
Yeah.
Darren's going to go read Wikipedia for the rest of the
But mind you, this is pretty simple to get started with. All you need to do is clone the Git, or in this case, I just downloaded the zip from Bastable's GR-RDS project. And so what you end up with is, I've already got it here, and simply, all you have to do is build it, and you cd to, you make a build directory, you cd to that, you do cmake ... I've already done this. In fact, the instructions are right down here. Basically, run those and you'll be good to go. I did, in this instance, actually realize that I had to, I was missing one dependency. I forget which one it was. It was just a standard library, but it told you what library it was, and it was a matter of sudo apt-get install whatever the library name was, and I was off to the races. So aside from the live DVD of GNU Radio, that's the only other thing that I needed, really.
Okay.
But when you go to build it, it'll be really obvious, and after you've done that, it's simply a matter of opening the GRC file. So let's go ahead and do that. It's under, see, a cd to dot. I went far. cd to apps, and you'll see we have the RDS RX GRC files. So let's open that up in GNU Radio Companion.
Ampersand.
Oh, okay, yeah, we'll do it that way. So ampersand, boom, runs it, the process in the background.
Am I making it harder for you?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to go ahead and open this. You see RDS underscore RX GRC.
Okay. Wow.
That's it.
That's just slightly complicated.
And it goes on for a while.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and I'm not going to pick this apart, but essentially this is going to provide us with, I mean, a lot of this is the GUI elements, but let's go ahead and just run this off the bat to get a sense of it. I'll go ahead and generate this, or I'm sorry, execute it. And I just need a radio station now.
We have static, yay! Let's do 98.1. That's KISS FM here in San Francisco.
There you go.
All right.
So it already says KISS FM or Love FM now, and I mean, as we all know, Love Shack B52s.
Oh, that's
right there
awesome.
at the bottom.
Wow, that was
Isn't that
fast.
Great? I mean, it's
fast.
Like I said, it's only 112, or I'm sorry, 1,200 bits per second.
That's so cool.
But
But it's just enough to be able to swoop in and give you all that data.
It happens pretty consistently, and it has that error correction in there, which is nice.
So now not only are we getting
this is not planned whatsoever, too. But I just love that this is actually kind of like an Easter egg. If you ever watched Hak5 Season 1, I think it may have been like episode 3 or something, there's a reference here to the Love Shack.
Oh,
so
no.
How weird is that?
I have to go back and watch that episode now.
We can also come in and see all of the different stuff. Like we've got like a nice little waterfall and things of that nature.
So we have the waterfall, we have the frequency going up and down. And now we also have
Hang on, I have to turn this down
data.
before we get a copyright complaint. Otherwise, yeah.
That is so cool.
That is pretty cool. I wanted to, and I bring this up though, as we continue this series, and I want to get into some more practical bits, especially next week with some fun hacky stuff. We are going to, I want to show a demonstration of some of the other parts of the GNU Radio suite that we can use with this particular application. Okay, so as you saw, well, let me close this out.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of GNU Radio Companion. Okay. And back to my terminal. And you'll see I have this GRC file here, right? Well, I can actually open this up without first opening GNU Radio Companion and then opening it and then executing it. It's pretty simple. There's actually a GNU Radio Companion compiler.
Oh, great.
So kind of like GCC, except it's GRCC.
So you can do everything from the terminal.
Yes, which is beautiful. But it's still going to pop up that nice GUI. So GRCC,
cool.
You want to use the TAC-E option. That's going to go ahead and execute it right after you're done.
Okay.
And in this case, it's RDS underscore RX.grc.
And after a few seconds,
there we go.
Up, and
pops
it looks
this
exactly
up.
the same. Perfect.
You can tune back over to that station.
Now it always shows up at that default station. I'm assuming you can just change that in the block.
Yeah, I mean, just like
it's the same as last week.
Well, yeah, just like we did with the last week, and we had set that variable to start out at whatever it was, 96.3 FM, and then we created a slider so that we could change that up and down. That variable does have what the default is. And so you're right, if we wanted to change that, we can go ahead and close this. And instead of opening it using GRCC, we can do GNU Radio Companion and that file.
Okay.
And you'll see in here there's a variable for the audio rate, there's a variable for the sample rate.
Yeah,
and there we go. It's frequency tune, and the value is actually frequency offset. So there's going to be another, remember you can set a variable to have the value of the variable is actually the value of the slider. So if we look around here,
that very well.
If we look around here, we'll find the slider.
Okay.
I'm not going to dissect this program too much, but but it is really cool to see how all of this stuff works, and we'll have links in the show notes if you're interested in dissecting this protocol, because it is really cool. But I just wanted to use this as an example of how to get some digital stuff out, because next week that's what we're going to be doing, and how to kind of combine this with command line with GRCC, because we have some fun stuff planned.
But I'm really stoked for next week. I can't wait.
But of course, we would love to hear your feedback, so hit us up, feedback@hak5.org, or just leave a comment, or post in the forums over at forums.hak5.org.
Yeah. Yes. Go into the SDR forums. They're awesome.
Yes.
I need to go in there and play.
Yeah,
Yay.
do that. And while she does that, we will be right back.
Domain names are like islands of land, and the sea is where you're floating without land, and you have a killer idea. You're like, I could really use some land right now, as opposed to floating around at the sea. And that's why you're going to want to snag a domain name when you have that killer idea. And you're going to want it fairly quickly, in fact. There are sharks out there, mind you. And Domain.com has this really quick discovery system. So you have your idea, you plug it into there, and then you easily check out with what you want. And next thing you know, your website's up and running in no time, and you don't even have soggy sneakers. Nobody wants soggy sneakers. They want Domain.com. I want Domain.com. I love these guys. They are easy to use. They're reliable, affordable. Shannon and I love them. They're super fun to do business with because you can tweet at them at Domain.com, and they tweet back at you, and they're fun. You're gonna have to take my word. Or tweet at them and say, hey, you know what? Hak5 loves you guys. I should love you guys too. And they want to show the love by hooking you up. When you use the coupon code Hak5 at checkout, you get to get an extra 15% off their already affordable goodies like domain names and web hosting. So don't forget, when you go to domain.com, use that code HAK5 to get 15% off. And when you think domain names, think domain.com.
It's time for the trivia question of the week. Last week's trivia question was, which tech company derives its name from a mythical creature? It's my favorite mythical creature. The answer is Asus or Asus, depending on where you live, and the mythical creature is called the Pegasus. This week's question is, the glyphs in what video game are directly translatable to English? Also one of my favorites. You can answer this at hak5.org/trivia for your chance to win some awesome Hak5 goodies.
That just about wraps up this week's episode of Hak5 that's in dire need of a haircut. And we want to remind you of a couple of things. First of all, don't drink and drive.
They're not a sponsor this week. What?
I don't know. It's just
make sure to email us
advice.
What you like, what you hate, what you don't like, what you love over at feedback@hak5.org. And you can also follow us over at hak5.org/follow. What else, Darren?
They can support the show directly, as you guys have and continue to do, because it warms our hearts when you go over to hakshop.com and get yourself an SDR or Ubertooth or Pineapple or Ducky or just things with magic pixie dust in them. Yes.
What else?
That's it.
And we have internets.
You are the worst ad-libbing co-host I've ever known. Except for myself.
I'm amazing. What are you talking about, man? Shoot. Can't hold me back. What?
Yeah.
Haters gonna hate.
I know, right? Doing this show for myself. If you like it, that's cool. Otherwise,
get out.
Yeah, buddy.
There's an inside joke somewhere in there.
I promise we haven't been drinking.
No, we haven't. But I seriously need to go next door and get some beer. So that's about it for this week. Can't wait till next week. I'm super excited about our segment. I can't wait. It's going to be really, really fun. And, of course, always contact us. That's about it.
Yes, send us love on the Twitter face.
Yeah, Twitters.
Yes.
I like Twitters. And
plus,
Google+.
Plus my face.
Till next week, I'm Shannon Morse.
I'm Darren Kitchen. You made it to the end.
You made it. You win the internet. Trust the internets. I mean, trust your technology.
I'll see you on the techno sluts. What?
Trust the internets. I mean, trust your technology.
I'll see you on the techno sluts. What?
Yeah, rock band. Techno
Tell that
sluts.
to your heart. I downgraded it from SSH. Hey, check out Dale's new album.
Love plus plus.
Love plus 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 plus.
No, it's just 2 pluses. It's like C++, but it's love plus.
It's love plus plus.
Get
love equals love plus 1. would have been the other working title, but they just went with Levels.
And 3, 2. Where did he go?
Don't know why I just did that.
Oh, and it just hangs there.
You give me a pen during a segment and I will flippy it all day long.
That was amazing.
Thank you. I do all my own bloopers.